Hey guys, welcome back. Drip Coach here with Drip and Farm for Poverty, where we don't trust, we verify, and operate with integrity and transparency. Today, just a quick update on the FOMC meeting yesterday and rate cuts, what that means for the future. And maybe I'm the only one that's still super bullish and excited that these rate cuts didn't go through. So let's jump into a recap from George over Cryptos R Us and give a summary there. And then we'll also look at the Forbes article, of course. So TLDR, Powell didn't cut rates, but there is some dissent amongst the members. So for the first time in over a decade, you've got two people or some people going against the decision. Not enough to change anything. And I don't believe, again, Powell will leave or change until his term is up in May, which again, I believe is bullish. But let's listen to how George describes this.
And it makes no sense. So we had that FOMC meeting, right? And no surprise, no rate cut. We knew that. It's not going to be done this time. But the vote was 9-2. So out of the 11 people that voted, 2 people, Waller and one other person, said that it was time to cut. Okay? And this is the first time where you really have a disagreement. Normally speaking, the governors, they all kind of vote the same way. This time we had 2 adamant people that said, hey, it's time, we need to cut. But of course, the others and Powell, they're like, nope, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. We don't want to do it. And the reason's always the same. I guess jobs is looking okay. Employment rate looks low, and economy's doing okay. And because of those things, and because of the unknown effects of tariffs, we're not gonna cut. But not only that, not just not cut. He was asked during Q&A about September because okay, we all knew there's no cut, so we thought that September maybe he would be a little dovish and say, okay, it's ready. After this last one, we're ready to cut. We're going to do it in September, and we got one more after that. No, he went the opposite route. He said, you know what? We have to evaluate September. There's no guarantees of a cut in September, and we just don't know the effects of the tariffs and inflation. Like, come on, okay? At this point, he's doing this on purpose. He's doing it out of spite because he knows that Trump wants him to cut. Everyone wants him to cut, and this is like, to me, it's turning political. He did not have to say it that way, okay? He could just say, hey, you know what? I think we're ready, but we just need a little more data. Right? But, say it in a neutral way. He said it in a way where it was hawkish. Like, basically, like, he's expecting there's going to be more inflation. And because of it, he basically doesn't want to think about it. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think anyone likes it. The market was green today.
I personally like it. I don't know. I do understand this does affect others, and I'm in a very unique circumstance, earning dollars, living in a different country. But I just look at this long term. Like, to me, this is a blessing in disguise. It's to help everyone get unfucked from the existing system. And this just shows you how it is literally a control system. Like Jeff Booth says, we don't live in a free market. This is a control system. So you're seeing this play out, like the writing is on the wall. As Jack Mallers says, they're saying the quiet parts out loud. We're seeing that money is being controlled politically, not based off of any data. Of course, there's people on both sides, but the bulk of everyone is saying that the data is saying that we should be cutting rates, but you got one person who's in charge of the money supply. And if that, to me, isn't bullish for you to get your head out of your ass and get out of fiat, then I don't know what is, because they're showing you their hand and telling you what they're doing and what they're going to continue doing. And, rightfully so, I understand why, George and others are frustrated. But like I said, for me, this is a blessing because I missed BTC at the lower lows. Like, let's just look at some context. Right now, it is July 31st, so we'll call that August. Let's go back to August of last year. BTC was at 58 and it closed 64. We are 2x. Let's just round it up and say 2x. I know that'd be 128. We're at 118, but just for simple math, we are up 2x from a year ago at BTC. Like, it's still going up, and it's still going to continue to go up. And if you continue to sit on the sidelines waiting for a buying opportunity to go lower or whatever the case may be, you could be missing the boat. And the fact that they're not cutting rates just means that it's going to chop and grind slower higher. But that, to me, again, is just a great opportunity to stack sats. If, like me, you missed this literally 365 days ago. So all the way up until, we were at the 70s in October. It wasn't until the election that we jumped from the 70s. So like, you're still getting a almost 50% discount on BTC right now. I'm sorry, not 50% discount. It's just 50% higher from what it was. And you can see how quickly things can change, especially if rates get cut. So this has all been the previous election. None of this priced in the strategic reserve, the regulations that we have. So it's like, if you're not bullish and optimistic, even with this hawkish narrative from the Fed, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
Today, start out in the green. Everyone thought that this was going to be a good FOMC meeting, good Q&A, and then things turned really, really red afterwards. Markets tanked. Bitcoin tanked, although it went down to 115. Clear out more leverage, came back up. Now it's 117, but still not all the way back. But the alts took a beating today, even more so on top of yesterday. And it's all due to one person, Powell. So,
see, to me, that's just a little doom and gloom narrative, fear mongering. Like, I wouldn't consider BTC going down to 115 tanking. It's like a 2% drop. You know, BTC can shrug off 10-15%. So personally, like, I don't subscribe to this narrative about the Fed and stuff like that. You guys have heard me say that I believe I might be one of the few that think this is bullish, because to me, Bitcoin specifically is showing resilience, and it doesn't give two shits about the narratives and just the talks. It only cares about liquidity, like I told you guys. So yeah, it may have dropped. Let's take a look at it, what it did yesterday before the meeting. Let's go out to, we'll do like the 4 hour, because that should give us some better insight. But even if, you know, it's a couple ticks, like a couple percentage points. So where are we in here? It just shrugged that off in that time frame. So this would have been Wednesday. So I guess it would have been this candle here, 12 o'clock. So we were at 1. I need to zoom in some more here. You can tell I'm not a TA person because I don't use this very often. But I guess, yeah, it'd be this candle. That's 4 a.m. We'll even go from here from Tuesday, 4 a.m. So let me see what that quote unquote tank is that George is talking about. The BTC, 4 a.m. on Tuesday, and then we get to 4 p.m. on Wednesday. 1.68% in a 36-hour period. Like, seriously, is that what we're fear mongering, doom and gloom? Let's go all the way back to almost 3 days, 2% on BTC. Like, who gives a shit? And looking at the alts that he's talking about, hell, they're back up. So I just think the markets now, because of this regulation, especially with the Stablecoin Act, Clarity Act, and other countries now seeing how the US is positioning itself with crypto, I believe, one, of course, BTC is maturing. It shrugged off that 80K, $9 billion sell from the whale in a matter of hours. And now we're seeing that the narratives that used to drive the market from the FOMC and Trump's tweets and all that stuff, I think 830 or something like that. Previous cycle was 500, 600 just a year ago. So you look at in the 7-day, 24 hours, these things are already back up. It doesn't give a shit about Powell cutting rates. That to me is just super bullish. So this is a great opportunity to still continue to buy at these great prices, because rates will be cut inevitably. guaranteed because Trump still got another 3.5 years. Powell's only got about 7 months, or I'm sorry, 8 months, somewhere around there. And they're already looking at the next Fed chair, and you're already seeing dissent happening within the ranks. So rates will indeed get cut, but crypto, BTC is showing you that it doesn't need that. It's already been approved. It's being accepted. People are seeing it as a hedge, and money is rolling in one way or another. And of course, other economies and global macro influence is hedging that. Let's take a look at my Watcher Guru post, because that's always hilarious as well. So Dissent came in earlier and said, not expecting to cut rates, which is what everybody did. Nobody expected him to cut rates. Trump went to visit Powell at the Fed, showed that hard hat meeting where he was trying to strong arm him into that, and also just show him as incompetent, making public statements about the budget, how they're over in this building and all that stuff like that. So it's all just trying to show some discourse and distrust with how Powell is managing things. So Fed rates remain unchanged. Trump talks about Pelosi, who cares? But this I thought was hilarious. President Trump says he heard Fed chatter Powell will cut rates in September. Then Powell gets on and says, we've made no decisions about September. And 212 million liquidated in 60 minutes, and I already showed you it's back up. So nothing else matters. As I told you guys, it's all about liquidity. That's right, why BTC got created. And that is what moves the market at this stage. It is no longer moved by just narratives and fear mongering or even hype. It used to be like, with the stablecoin bill and all that stuff earlier last year when we heard about it. But now that all this stuff is in, I believe it's only going to move when there's actually going to be liquidity injected into the markets. And I don't think we're going to see any kind of push with the tariffs and inflation and things of that nature. There was a post in here that showed that the U.S. first time, right here, U.S. economy grew 3% in Q2. So whatever Trump is doing, trying to manage this like a business, U.S. like a business, it is working in some regard. This one, United States collected $28 billion in tariff revenue in July, the highest month total this year. But at the end of the day, they still got to print. The money printer will go burr. We are just in a debt-based economy, and there's no other way out of it. And again, that is super bullish for me, because that just means eventually lowering interest rates will come in. And there was a quote by Raoul Powell that said, even with these higher rates, that just means they have to inject actually more liquidity. Because you got to think about it. If you have to refinance a loan that you have and you were hoping to get it lower, but you can't get it lower, that means you have to borrow more money to refinance that loan if you were a normal citizen. But the economy for the U.S. government doesn't have to borrow, they just print more. So the fact that these debts are coming due, that just means they're going to have to print more and inject it. So it's a win-win in the long run. Yes, I know this sucks for people living in the U.S. and seeing this, but again, use it as a barometer to say, get the hell out of this control shit system that we've been put into. All right, it's enough of my ranting. Let me know what you guys think, how you feel about the rates. Are you bullish, bearish, hawkish, dovish? Let me know in the comments. Smash that HBO special, help brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.